Hello, I'm Teresa O'Leary. I'm a personal health informatics PhD student at Northeastern University, and I'm an RA in the Relational Agents group. So during this talk, I will describe a novel participatory design methodology for developing culturally appropriate virtual agent applications. I'll start by describing two participatory design workshops and demonstrate how we translate our findings from each workshop into a culturally tailored agent application. So cultural tailoring is defined as adapting intervention content to recognize and reinforce the intended audience's cultural values, beliefs, and behaviors. Furthermore, culturally tailored health content utilizes these values and beliefs to provide additional context and meaning to the delivered content. Hawkins et al. Find that tailoring in general has been used in many health promotion interventions, and that it's been shown to increase user engagement, increase perception of personal relevance, and increase user attitudes. However, cultural tailoring cannot be superficial. While others may benefit from agents that resemble themselves, this benefit may be context dependent. Thus, simply tailoring the visual appearance of the agent is likely to be an oversimplification of design. As a result, researchers should consider identifying additional salient cultural factors and features central to the priority population, as well as to the situational context. There are many instances of special groups and populations that would benefit from culturally tailored agents. Religious congregations are one example of a specialized population requiring many subtleties in design. There are roughly 4,200 religions in the world, and within each of these, a specific congregation that has its own unique culture, norms, and practices. Therefore, leveraging religious beliefs and practices may be important for many kinds of virtual agent applications and interventions involving congregants. We explored cultural tailoring in a religious community in a project with 2 churches. Our work is in the context of a larger 4-year project funded by the United States National Science Foundation, where our project goal is to design, develop, and evaluate an mHealth application for a network of predominantly Black church communities. We worked in partnership with church members from each community and a number of participatory design focus groups. We created these workshops to provide participants with hands-on opportunities to culturally tailor their own agents. I'll present on these sessions today. So our methodology includes 3 components: an agent design workshop, a dialogue tailoring workshop, and a validation study. In the agent design workshop, participants designed agent personas to help them accomplish their goals. And in the dialogue tailoring workshop, participants adapted an existing health promotion virtual agent for their own church community by revising its language and dialogue. And then finally, in the validation study, we evaluate the impact of a culturally tailored health conversation with an agent. So our community members had never seen an agent before. So to start the design workshop, we showed participants 2 agent applications. Now, to interact with our agent applications, users hear agent utterances synthesized using text-to-speech program. Our animation engine uses an algorithm to generate the agent's accompanying nonverbal behavior, and our users respond by selecting from menu options. We worked within this dialogue structure in the later workshop and validation study. Focus group members interacted with these 2 agents. The first agent was designed to assist people living with atrial fibrillation, and the second agent provided palliative care counseling to people with advanced illnesses. The palliative care agent included religious content for spiritual support, but it wasn't tailored for this religious community. When reviewing the agent demonstrations, participants reacted negatively to the palliative care agent that incorporated scripture. While they appreciated the attempts of incorporating scripture into spiritual counseling into the dialogue, the prayers in the scripture were from a different version of the Bible, and the content for our participants was too basic and in their eyes too uninteresting to be helpful. By not taking into consideration the religious knowledge and the level of religious engagement of our participants, the agent lost its credibility and its functionality. The aim for the rest of the session was to explore participant preferences for and expectations of the personas that agents can embody and the functions that agents can perform for church members. 2 focus groups with a total of 11 church members completed this workshop. To start the design session, we prompted participants to think of the time in the past week or month that you needed help. Design an agent who could help you. Give this agent a name and think about who they are. We created 13 agent templates as a starting point for participant design. The agent templates were created using Adobe Fuse Character Creator software to first generate 3D models of the agents, Adobe Mixamo for rigging, and Unity for rendering. For the characters to appear like a lo-fi coloring book sketch, we modified the textures and used Toon outline shading and lighting. As you can also see in Figure B, participants completed an accompanying worksheet and then that prompted them for additional agent details. This workshop resulted in the design of 33 agents, each with their own unique characteristics, personas, and functions. These functions fell into the following categories: health, spiritual, and administrative. While the prompt for the types of support or functions that the agent could provide was very broad, participants created a striking number of agents that engaged with them about faith-based challenges. We refer to these agents who provide these functions as spiritual agents. Agents supported participant spirituality in various ways, some of which were explicit, like encouraging prayer or teaching about the Bible, but then others were more subtle, like incorporating scriptural content to help encourage participants to accomplish their goals. Given the prevalence of spiritual content and values incorporated into the persona and functions of the agents that our participants designed, we found that spiritual content is not only acceptable, but desired by users. Church members created various roles for their agents. These roles were not only your typical wellness coach or wellness expert, but the majority of the created agents were designed as peers or friends. Through their agent designs, participants signaled the importance of fellowship and connecting to other members of their community. So next, we conducted a follow-up participatory design workshop to explore how participants might use language related to their faith and religious background in the context of a healthcare conversation. So creating a conversational agent health promotion program anchored in good clinical practices is a complex undertaking. We could not expect that our community members would have knowledge of behavioral health medicine or conversation management. So we created materials to scaffold participant authoring of a health promotion conversation. The purpose of this workshop was for participants to adapt a secular agent application to incorporate language that reflects their community's beliefs and values. So during this workshop, participants reviewed an existing exercise promotion agent application, and after that demonstration, they were given these worksheets. Each sheet contained one turn of dialogue in the form of an agent utterance and a user menu. On the left-hand side of the worksheet, participants were presented with the conversation exactly as they saw it in the demo. And on the right side, participants could rewrite the agent utterances and reimagine the user menus. In order to elicit participant responses, we asked the participants to think about if you were having a conversation with someone from your church. How would you phrase this? During our analysis, we found that participants included spiritual language in more than a third of the dialogue utterances, and that there was a wide range in how often participants included spiritual language. For purposes of our analysis, spiritual language is defined as any content that refers to religious concepts, practices, or any references to the participant's religious community. Scripture was used in agent utterances far more than the user menu options. So overall, participants agreed that scripture and scriptural content should be interwoven into the dialogue, emphasizing that the agent should really speak similarly to how their friends would speak. Further, participants indicated that the degree of religious tailoring may need to be dynamically tailored for individual users. Even from the same church, we see variation in preferences for religious content. For example, a newcomer to the church or to religion may feel intimidated by too much faith-related language. P12 explained, I also think about newbies, people that are just coming into faith. Sometimes they might feel a bit intimidated to talk a lot of scriptures. So that might be a barrier. Through both workshops, we developed a set of design guidelines for creating culturally tailored agents for our priority population. We recommend establishing the role and cultural background of the agent by setting user expectations early, establishing common ground and solidarity through tailored social chat, leveraging cultural concepts to motivate and persuade, thereby increasing self-efficacy, providing culturally tailored problem solving, and adapting the degree of tailoring to the user's degree of cultural involvement and preferences. Next, we conducted a validation study where we applied these design guidelines. So we conducted a counterbalanced within subjects experiment. The study had two conditions. First, a spiritual condition, in which the agent used religious and spiritual language in its counseling dialogue, and a secular condition, in which the agent used secular dialogue of equivalent length. Participants had conversations with two characters during the study session. One promoted exercise, the other promoted diet. One of these conversations was spiritual, the other secular. The order, the character, topic, and study condition were all randomized. So instead of the traditional healthcare coach, the spiritual agent was designed as a member of her church's health program. The spiritual agent was tailored to incorporate values, beliefs, and functions participants found meaningful for health promotion during the previous design workshops. For example, the spiritual agent ends the conversation asking participants if they would like to pray. Invitation to prayer is a contextually appropriate way to end a church social interaction. In contrast, the secular agent ends the session with a mindfulness exercise. In the spiritual condition, agent dialogue was tailored to incorporate topically relevant spiritual content. In the first example, the dialogue refers to a spiritual concept of stewardship, to encourage good health practices by signaling the importance of health as a celebration of one's faith. And now in this second example, scripture is embedded into the agent dialogue. This is done to demonstrate the highly valued characteristic that participants were looking for, the ability to interweave scripture naturally into conversation. And now here's an example of non-tailored and tailored dialogue side by side. In this example, both agent systems ask the user, what would make you feel more confident in your ability to exercise? And here the user selects, if I had more time. The secular agent responds with a tip, whereas the spiritual agent incorporates scripture to provide encouragement. In totality, we hypothesized that tailoring by persona, function, and agent dialogue would demonstrate that the spiritual agent was a member of the user's community, shared the same set of values, and would be more engaging and trustworthy than the secular agent. So during the interviews, all participants stated that if given the choice to continue working with either agent, they would like to continue working with the spiritual agent. As P5 stated, she's talking my language. Participants described the use of faith-based language as not only appropriate and genuine, but as motivating, especially when used in the context of a healthcare counseling conversation with an agent. As P4 stated, I think it's helpful to hear a message when you're trying to change your life or do something that's seriously difficult. All participants stated that they felt more connected to the spiritual agent, and that was in part due to her feeling more like a member of their own community. P4 states, what she did is very much akin to some of the people I talked to at church. Participants re-emphasized the value of their community places on fellowship and peer support, and that this preference translates to preferences for the role of the agent. P2 stated, overall, the secular agent had a clinical feel. She wasn't a buddy. I don't need a clinician. I need a friend. So in conclusion, our work demonstrates that participatory design is essential when creating culturally tailored agents for specialized populations. In the agent design workshop, participants expressed that culturally tailoring needs to go beyond visual characteristics is important. They identified both faith and ability to use faith-based language as highly valued characteristics for an agent designed for their community. And in the dialogue tailoring workshop, participants discussed the importance of subtle representations of their culture and insisted that this was necessary for the agent to appear as a genuine community member. While tailoring an agent on surface level characteristics has been shown to improve agent interventions, these findings point to the powerful potential impact of extending cultural tailoring to include core values of the audience members. Thank you for attending my talk today. Again, I'm Teresa O'Leary, and if you have any questions or want to chat about this topic, please feel free to ask right now or shoot me an email later. Thank you.